Hey guys, my name's Ash and welcome to C4E Tech. Oppo's got a flashy new flagship in the Find X5 Pro, and today in this video, we're gonna get it out of its box and see everything new that Oppo has to offer. So first, we are greeted by this black insert, and this contains a SIM ejector tool, a card for premium service, why not, your regular informational booklets in multiple languages, and a soft case. I like the cloudy finish on this, goes well with the Find X5 Pro, which is what we get to next. Let's peel that protective cover off. This here, as you can see, it's the ceramic white variant. Oppo also offers a glazed black, but I like the white a whole lot more because, going by initial reviews, it doesn't seem to pick up fingerprints quite as much as the black one does. Anyways, removing that screen protector to get a better look at the screen. Before we do, let's finish up with the box contents. There's a USB Type-A to Type-C cable, followed by an 80-watt SuperVOOC charger. Oppo here claims the battery health is expected to remain over 80% for up to 1600 cycles. Now, if you do the math, that is over 4 years of peak performance despite using a fast 80-watt charger. This 1600 cycle claim, that's twice the industry standard, so that's the selling point here. Now, this would have sounded awesome to me if not for Oppo's recent reveal that future phones will be getting 150 watt and even 240 watt SuperVOOC charging. So that, in my humble opinion, might have taken a little bit of luster off this 80 watt SuperVOOC. But still, 50% charge in 12 minutes isn't something to scoff at. There's also 50 watt AirVOOC to provide full charge in just 47 minutes. There's also reverse wireless charging up to 10 watts if you want to charge peripherals and whatnot. Now, the first thing you notice when you pick this phone up is its heft. It weighs in at almost 220 grams, so it's most definitely not the lightest around. The ceramic back here gives it probably the best in-hand feel amongst all flagships. It's just 8.5 millimeters thick and it's a pleasure to use. I love how the camera melts into the back panel. The design looks super cool. Now, before we take a closer look at the optics, let me quickly walk you through the placements. The volume keys are present to the left, the secondary microphone resides up top, the power key with its green Renault accent is present to the right. To the bottom, we have the primary speaker, a USB Type-C port, the primary microphone alongside a tray. This tray can take two 5G nano SIMs. And yes, it has a rubber grommet cause the Find X5 Pro has an official IP68 rating. To the front, the earpiece here, it pulls double duty to provide stereo output. The audio is pretty loud, it's crystal clear. The display below that you're seeing is a 6.7-inch AMOLED panel with a Quad HD Plus resolution and 120Hz refresh. This resolution makes it pretty sharp. The pixel density is 525 pixels per inch. This also happens to be a LTPO panel, so the Find X5 Pro can drop to lower refreshes as and when needed to conserve battery. Like most flagships these days, this screen also has a DisplayMate A+ rating, and it's very bright, pretty good for outdoor use. Other display specs worth noting are the 81-92 levels of dimming with really low minimum brightness levels to ease eye strain, especially when you use it under low light. You also get always-on functionality with loads of options to play around, including setting your silhouette or emoji, and of course, the use of Corning's Gorilla Glass Victus for protection. These are all positives. Given this is AMOLED, underneath the screen is an in-display fingerprint scanner of the optical variety. It was pretty fast and responsive, no complaints. There's also 240Hz touch sampling for very responsive gameplay. If it wasn't obvious by this point, this is an out-and-out flagship, so anything but the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 wouldn't have made sense. So Oppo's gone ahead and done just that. We have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 running the show here. I tried a few games and unsurprisingly, they ran very smoothly, no issues whatsoever. Oppo claims to be using a very large vapor chamber, which in conjunction with the ceramic back should help with heat dissipation. Beat it up, Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 here, it's coupled with 12 gigs of LPDDR5 RAM and 256 or 512 gigs of fast UFS 3.1 storage, of which up to 7 gigs can be used as virtual memory. Now, one thing worth noting though is that the Antutu scores for this phone, they are lower than expected. It scored in the mid 800,000s, a full 100,000 points lower than what we've been seeing from other Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 touting smartphones. Now, this was with the performance mode off, because weirdly with the performance mode on, the scores actually fell. I guess this is a software bug for the moment which should be addressed given its early days for the Find X5 Pro after all. Now the actual performance I have no complaints with. ColorOS 12 on the Find X5 Pro felt very smooth. This is ColorOS on top of Android 12 and it comes loaded with a truckload of features. For example, we have the Smart Sidebar, which is pretty useful to quickly launch apps in floating windows. It also lets you take screenshots or start recording the screen. And here's my favorite part. Say you come across a picture in a different language and want to translate it, boom. It's just that simple to get Google Lens to do the job. You can also set it so that when you hit the fingerprint unlock, you can have it automatically perform an action or launch an app of your choosing. Now, if you like the gimmicky stuff, you have air gestures to scroll through or handle calls. There is just a whole lot of functionality baked in here. I've now been using the Find X5 Pro as my primary for about 4 days and the experience has been great. Apps launch very quick. I haven't faced any slowdowns, at least not yet. The actual process of touching and using it, that feels great too given the X-axis linear motor. BT-dub, there is also face unlock. It even works with the mask on. This is done via the 32 megapixel f2.4 selfie camera, which happens to be the same IMX709 sensor that we saw on the Reno 7 Pro. And just like we saw there, it continues to perform really well here too. Even with portrait shots, they turned out quite nice. Now to the back, we have 3 cameras. The primary is a 50 megapixel Sony IMX766. It's paired with an optically stabilized f1.7 lens. This has 5-axis stabilization. That's 2-axis lens OIS and 3-axis sensor shift to allow for up to 3 whole degrees of anti-shake. So with videos, you get very stable footage like you're seeing here. Large sensor plus OIS plus the 6nm Merisilicon NPU, which is supposed to give the Find X5 Pro a leg up over the competition that might use Qualcomm's inbuilt processing. And as you can see, the low light performance, it's very impressive. There's a lot of detail, the noise levels are kept low. I like how the bright spots are handled. Now it's not quite as good with 4K video under low light, but it's still very solid. Now would you guys like to see a camera comparison? Let me know in the comments. Given low light performance was this good, it's no surprise that under good lighting conditions, this camera continued to blow me away. The Find X5 Pro performs pretty much like a top-notch flagship phone. Images are rich, they're detailed, even those I shot around sunset. Even with the secondary ultra-wide, the images they match up quite nicely to the primary. That's because for the secondary, Oppo has again gone with the same 50 megapixel Sony IMX766. It's just been paired with an ultra-wide f2.2 lens, one with a 112 degree field of view in case you're interested. Now this is a very rare thing to see, 2 primary sensors used in a multi-camera array, so props to Oppo on making it happen. BT-dub, the ultra-wide also happens to have autofocus, so it supports macro shots up to 4 centimeters. Remember that Hasselblad branding we saw to the back? That's basically because Oppo's worked with Hasselblad on the software side of things. There are some goodies like the expand mode to let you shoot wide images like this. There are also multiple filters they've come up with. The entire color profile, how natural everything turns out, that's also something Hasselblad's worked together with Oppo on. Moving on to the third camera, it's a 13 megapixel telephoto that allows for 2x optical zoom. This to me was a little bit of a letdown. Not because it's not a good camera, it's actually quite capable. It can do up to 20x digital zoom and you get decent results at up to even 10x. So it's not bad at all. But just given how all in Oppo's gone with pretty much everything else here, maybe a periscope would have been a better fit. Well, a periscope would most definitely have been the better choice here, don't get me wrong. Oppo has indeed gone all in on this one. The Find X5 Pro, it's loaded with goodies, a ceramic build, an IP68 rating, fast wired and wireless charging, top of the line internals, an excellent bright display with Gorilla Glass Victus protection, a dedicated NPU, stellar optics. It is one serious flagship. And of course, what that means is it's not gonna come cheap. And yes, with that we get to pricing, and this one does cost a pretty penny. The Find X5 Pro starts at 6299 RMB in China. Talking about China, Oppo does offer a Dimensity 9000 variant that basically has everything that you saw on this phone, but instead of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, it comes with the Dimensity 9000 chip. That one's priced cheaper at 5799. So that's been it for my first look at the Find X5 Pro. What do you guys think about this phone? Personally, I love what Oppo's done here, especially with the cameras, and I am considering doing a camera comparison. So what would you like to see me pit it against? The Pixel 6, the iPhone 13 Pro, or maybe the S22 Ultra? Let me know in the comments below, and I guess that's it. Thank you for your time. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. Until next time, my name's Ash, you've been watching C4E Tech, and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.